So some recommended books on race in religion. The first book is The Curse of Ham. The Curse of Ham, and this book is the subtitle is Race and Slavery in Early Judaism, Christianity, and Islam by David M. Goldberg. An excellent book. This book is well researched. It explores the Curse of Ham, which is a story that's mentioned in the Bible in Genesis 9, where Noah reportedly got drunk, and then one of his sons, Ham, saw Noah, and he was humiliated that his father was drunk, and then he didn't cover his nakedness. Then, according to the story in the Bible, when Noah awoke from drunkenness, he then cursed Ham's son, Canaan, and cursed him with slavery, said that his descendants will be enslaved for the other two brothers of Ham, which are Shem and Japheth. So that's the story that's mentioned in the Bible. Now, what happened, unfortunately, with this particular story, and that's the image of the Curse of Ham, what happened with this story is that a number of Christian thinkers used this story to justify slavery. Also, within the Islamic tradition, a number of Muslims who converted to Islam, or who converted to Islam from previously being Jewish or Christians, a number of these Muslims narrated the Curse of Ham story. So you find the Curse of Ham story in the Islamic tradition, and they attributed this story to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, falsely. And in the Muslim traditions of the story, it said that Noah cursed Ham and his descendants with slavery, and other reports said that Noah cursed Ham with blackness. And there was this idea that after the curse of Noah, then Ham and his descendants became black. So this was like their idea of the etiology of why black people are black, or why dark-skinned people are black. And the black people refers to black Africans as well as Asians as well, who are dark skin and complexion. So unfortunately, I mean, there are a number of Muslim scholars who have said that those stories, those hadiths, are fabricated. They're known as the Israeliyat. They're not actual statements of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, because as Muslims we do not believe that Prophet Noah would drink alcohol and commit a sin like that, or nor would he make such a curse. But unfortunately, a number of Muslims have narrated this particular story and have used this story as justification for the enslavement of black people, or for the idea that black people are less intelligent than Arabs and Europeans. And this mindset, again, it still exists even amongst a number of Muslims, especially in the Arab world. So the first book I definitely would recommend is David M. Goldberg's book, The Curse of Ham, Race and Slavery in Early Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, which explores the Curse of Ham myth. The second book I would recommend is Africanism, Blacks in the Medieval Era, Blacks in the Medieval Arab Imaginary, Blacks in the Medieval Arab Imaginary, and this is a book written by Nader, and he said, and he's exploring anti-blackness within the Arab tradition and also within the Islamic tradition, not in the Quran or the authentic hadith, but there are a number of Muslim scholars who espouse anti-black sentiment. So he's exploring that and trying to understand where did this come from, looking at ancient Arab poetry as well as medieval Arab Muslim poetry, and exploring the anti-blackness, which unfortunately does exist not only within Arab literature but also in many Arab and Muslim communities as well as Persian communities. So that's a very good book, Africanism, which I definitely would recommend. The third book is my book, Illuminating the Darkness, Blacks and North Africans in Islam. So this is a book that I wrote in 2012, where I wanted to explore the status of black people and North Africans, like Berbers or Imazigh people in Islam, because there is a lot of, again, unfortunately, anti-black sentiment that I came across when I was studying in Egypt, and I wanted to understand, is this what the religion actually teaches, or is this an interpretation or understanding of some people? And I would argue that it's the latter. The religion of Islam in and of itself is not racist. Islam teaches racial equality, but there is definitely, undeniably, anti-black sentiment which does exist within the Islamic tradition, including works of Muslim scholars, great Muslim scholars, who have said some terrible things about black people, and some people have fabricated hadiths, fabricated statements, attributing them to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to give the impression that the religion of Islam demonizes or denigrates black people. So that's what I wanted to kind of explore, as well as looking at a number of Muslim scholars, both black and non-black, who wrote books speaking about the virtues and the achievements of black people, and asking people to kind of debunk this idea that black skin is less desirable than fair or lighter skin, and also to debunk the idea that black people are less intelligent or less worthy than Arabs or other non-black people. So that's why I wrote the book Illuminating the Darkness, and I drew a lot of inspiration from three particular Muslim scholars, Ajahid, Ibn al-Jawzi and al-Suyuti, who wrote great books cataloguing the achievements and merits of black people. The fourth book I'd recommend is Islam and Blackness by Dr. Jonathan A.C. Brown. So this is a book that I had the privilege of reviewing the manuscript before it was actually published. An excellent book, it's well researched. The doctor does a fabulous job in terms of exploring, again, this idea that Islam is an anti-black religion, but he looks at Islamic law, he looks at the Sufi tradition where you do find anti-black sentiment, and he traces or tries to see where did this originate from, and why some scholars, especially scholars within the Maliki Madhab, which is a legal school of Sunni Islam, why some Muslim scholars viewed black people as less worthy in terms of marriage than non-black people, and he looks at a number of anti-black hadiths that are fabricated and why Muslim scholars narrated these hadiths in their books. And he also talks about how Islam is not a religion which teaches anti-blackness, but he does explore, like I said, the accusation that Islam is an anti-black religion. So again, this is an excellent book, well researched, and it builds on a number of scholars of the past who have written about the achievements of black people and looking at the whole idea of race and racism within the Islamic tradition. So there are the four books I would recommend, especially if you want to understand anti-blackness within the Islamic tradition. So the first book, if you want to understand anti-blackness within the Arab world and Islamic literature, the first book is The Curse of Ham by David M. Goldberg. The Curse of Ham by David M. Goldberg, which is about race and slavery in early Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The second book is Africanism by Nader Kadhem, and this is about blacks in the medieval Arab imaginary. So it explores the negative representations and stereotypes of black people that unfortunately does exist. The third book is my book, Illuminating the Darkness, Blacks and North Africans in Islam. And this is a book which looks at the notion that Islam is anti-black, as well as looking at the positive contributions of black and North Africans according to a number of Muslim scholars, as well as I provide some short biographies of black men and women in Islamic history. The fourth book is Islam and Blackness by Dr. Jonathan A.C. Brown, an excellent, well-researched book that looks at, again, the idea that Islam is an anti-black religion, which I think he does a great job in terms of addressing that accusation. But he does explore and look at why there are a number of anti-black hadiths within our tradition, and why some scholars, especially within the Maliki Madhab, as well as scholars, Sufi scholars within the Sufi tradition, express some anti-black sentiment. So he kind of investigates and looks into that. So that's they're the four books that I would recommend on anti-blackness in the Arab world and in Islam, or in the Islamic tradition.